Hey, what's going on, guys? Sean or Mustang09, and today's video is definitely a passion project video for this episode because it is blistering hot outside. It's like mid-90s already. It's 10 o'clock and whew, it's a hot one. So even more reason to be installing a cold air intake by SMB on my 2017 F250. So you heard it here first. That's right. SMB cold air intake is going on. I really like the design of this. When I first saw it, I was like, okay, that's something I really have to get for the truck. Simply because if you look up here, you can see this is kind of like a ram air induction for the intake system. And it's in front of the battery, so it's got to go back down under into this somehow. And it just doesn't make sense that this isn't up front. And on the SMB kit, it actually rotates the battery behind the cold air intake, and obviously this thing just looks super good. So I can't wait to get it unboxed. It was really convenient. I was able to run down the street to Summit Racing in Arlington and pick one up. It's really nice to have them super close. So I'm already sweating. I'm drenched from setting up the tent. That way I had some shade under the truck to work. Got my bench out here, or my workbench I just picked up. This thing is going to be amazing to be able to reach and everything. So let's unbox it. Alrighty, looks like we've got a bunch of stuff in here. I'm gonna get all this unboxed and laid out, and then we'll take a look at everything. As you can see here, everything is unboxed. It's on the table. There are a ton of pieces. They all came plastic wrapped. Some had some bubble wrap on them, which SMB, they're a great company. They have a 1,000,000-mile warranty on their products. They just believe and back everything they do. So that's one of the selling points of why I went with SMB. And no, this is not a sponsored video. SMB didn't sponsor this. I picked this up with my own money. Summit Racing did not sponsor this. So I know there'll be some people that are curious, but this was my own decision and my money's spent for this cool new part. Like I was saying, you can see there's a lot of stuff on the table here, and with there being a lot of stuff on the table, that means a lot of stuff on the truck is gonna have to be removed to fit all the new parts. First one being passenger side battery. We got to get this bad boy out, and we're going to go ahead and disconnect the negative terminal from the driver's side battery as well, just so that we're not messing with any electronics. There's no power to the truck, and we can be safe. This right here is exactly why you got to love SMB, right? So this is their installation instructions. You open it up, and they're colored. I'm telling you guys, you never get colored instructions, and you never get super specific ones in the aftermarket world. So this is amazing. This is definitely something you guys at home can follow along and do. I have no doubt in my mind. So this is great. Thank you, SMB, for this. Switching to the GoPro under the hood, I hope you guys can see just fine. We're going to disconnect the passenger side battery. It's just 10 mils. I bought something. Let me grab it real quick. I went ahead and bought a new magnet tray. I don't know where mine went, but this is something completely necessary when you're using a lot of nuts and bolts that you're taking off and you got to keep track of. So all right, take the bracket out. Let me disconnect the negative on the driver's side. The driver's side is disconnected, so now we're going to pull this battery out. It's a big guy, so be careful. If you need a second set of hands, definitely make sure you ask someone. You don't want to drop this on your truck or on the ground. Battery and the sleeve are out. Yeah, that joker's heavy. Next part of this process is held right back here. This is your mass airflow sensor, and on this is a MAF plug that you've got to take off. There's a little red tab you got to push down, and then the clip should come right out. Okay. Let me just explain this real quick to you guys. On this tab here, this tab, it says to push down on it. Well, first off, this thing clips in. This red tab here, it pushes in to lock it into place, and then you pull it out, and then that lets you release the plug for the MAF sensor. So not hard, but not exactly what they described in the instructions. Next on the list, we have to remove this hose that's connected right here. That just pops out super easy. And then we're on to a flathead screwdriver to remove the C-clamps that hold this tube into place. There are two, one here and one here, and then this should come out. You don't have to go all the way, just loosen it up, and then we'll do the one behind the hoses there. Something doesn't look good under here. I don't know what all this junk is coming out of this hose. I need to check that out. That doesn't look good. It's like a paste. Regardless, this hose should be ready to come off. Boom. And just like that, it has been removed. So the next step on the instructions doesn't say this, but I am going to go ahead and just shove a clean microfiber towel just right in the opening there, just to protect it from anything falling in, anything getting in there. So now we're moving on to removing the stock inbox or air intake box here, but I want to check out the filter and see what that looks like. I have 33,000 miles on the truck. There's just 4 little tabs that you pop and then this thing comes off. So I'm interested to see what this one looks like. And there it is. So we'll step down here and take a look. It's pretty filthy, man. Oh my gosh. Yeah, look at that. A lot of grime. Wow, a lot of just thickness and oh, yeah, look at that. Alrighty, so this could have probably not come at a better time to get rid of this thing. This thing's filthy. So yeah, we'll finish taking the rest of the airbox out. There's 2 bolts, 8 mils up there, and get the whole thing removed. Something that I find interesting about the factory intake box is that it has this little gauge on the back here, and I'm guessing this tells you when you should be changing out your filter. There's a button on here to push to reset, so I want to push that and see if we notice anything. Oh yeah, it went up just a hair, so I'm not sure exactly how to read that. I should probably have looked that up at some point, but yeah, if you guys know exactly how to read this and what it's supposed to be telling me, leave that down in the comments below. I'd love to know, but this one right here is going in the box. Bye-bye. We got to take this out to remove the little ram inlet, and yours may look different. I don't think I put my clip right in the back in the right spot after I did my headlights, but it's done its job. It's held this stuff in place, so just pry it up, and then this will come out. And we should be able to get this out of here. Probably need 2 hands. We popped the little piece out of the front here, and now it says that this piece should just come right out. So I don't see that happening. Oh, there's clips. Ha ha ha. 2 clips makes it easy. Gotcha. So there are these 2 clips on the side here that are holding it into place with the battery tray. So that comes out. Easy as that. Next up is the back of the battery tray here. Let me actually switch cameras so that we can see it over in this camera. Saying the next part of the process is back here. It's these, there's some wiring back here that you have to pop out. So we will just 1 and 2, those come out. Those 2 are gone. There's 1 more way down here on the side, like way down there. Don't forget that guy. There we go. Bam. So he's out of there. Dang, guys, check that out. So we have this huge gap here now where the new parts are going to be going back in. I do believe there's still some removal we have to do, but for the most part, the factory airbox, the battery tray, and the tube have all been removed. So now the beauty of S&B gets to be placed in the engine bay. I'm excited. Still sweltering hot, still halfway dying out here, but we're moving forward, making progress. This next one's kind of difficult to show, but you have your AC line right here that's held on by a plastic clip to this mounting bracket, and then there's also a harness. So there's 1 clip there and 1 clip there, and this is the wiring harness. We'll go ahead and remove this clip and then remove the AC one. But it's kind of tough to hold the camera and do it at the same time, so I'm gonna set you guys down and take this off. For the next step, we have this bracket here and this bag of hardware. It is HP 1491-00, and this is just 1 bolt, a couple washers and a nut. That's gonna help hold this piece on right here. We are gonna use the factory hardware, these longer bolts here to hold it in while we thread this new one in. So we'll slide this one into place. You can see the 2 holes here. Those are for the harness clips that we took out a second ago. So this will go in right here. And we will line up these 3 holes like that and install the bolts. Looking down at this new bracket, we've got the hardware very loosely in there. We're going to take the AC line clip and plug that in, and then also this harness clip and plug that in down there in those 2 holes that I showed you before we installed this part. We have to salvage these U-bolts off of here and move them to our new airbox. So I've got to remove these. There are some screws on the bottom that hold this. It's like the little scoop that goes under the battery tray into the cold air intake box. So just a couple of screws over here and that should pop out and reveal the U-bolt. One quick tip here is when you're going to pull this apart, this little ram air section that goes underneath the tray, just pull it straight away, like out this way where the bolt sides are. Just pull it out and it'll come out. Don't fight it too hard. I broke one of my clips on there, so you don't want to do that. But yeah, we got the U-bolt out. That's what we needed. So this can go back into the stock parts box. And I think we're done with that. Installing the U-bolt onto the SMB battery tray. And you'll notice one side is taller and one side is shorter. You're going to install the U-bolt accordingly, the taller side with the taller side, and then the shorter side with the shorter side. So that'll come through like that. And then you're going to run a zip tie through these 2 holes to hold it down here that are supplied. There's a zip tie supplied with you from SMB. Okay, so with this in there, we're going to start from the bottom side here because I want the finished end. Loop that around. And we're doing that because I want the clean side up here and then obviously the finished side down below. And that will hold that in place, and we'll trim off the tail here. Now our U-bolt is installed. Alrighty guys, this is a super awkward angle for me because the camera's right in front, but I'm going to try and show you this the best that I can. What we're doing here is these little wedges here are what tighten your cable down to your battery, and we have to take all of this contraption off and flip-flop it so that this can now sit like that. With it upside down, you wouldn't be able to tighten this, so we need to take this mechanism out and then turn it around so that we can get it tight. Alright guys, now it's time to rearrange the, I guess you would call it like the locking mechanism, the tightening mechanism that goes on your cable here. We have to remove this bolt, and we're basically going to flip-flop everything. Nut comes off, then there's a little wedge piece that comes off. Another wedge. Bolt comes out, and with the bolt out, this piece comes around like this. We'll flip this upside down, and now we will realign everything how it came off. So nut, or bolt, sorry, this little wedge mechanism. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I dropped it. Not good. This is just my luck right now. I'm a little bit frustrated. I dropped the stupid wedge that goes on the terminal that tightens it down. It's so frustrating. I can't find it. It didn't hit the floor, and so I ran to the store to go find a replacement. None of the auto parts stores carry one, and now it's raining outside. Luckily, I have this tent, so try and wrap up this install, and if I need to borrow the little wedge piece off the Mustang, then I'll do that, and then I'll just go to Ford tomorrow and pick up a new terminal. The whole thing is like 15 bucks from Ford, so I just need to get this install taken care of and knocked out so that I can be done with it. So we may speed up here and not go so much step by step and just get it knocked out so that I can be finished. So what I've done is it comes with this battery extension here for the positive terminal. I've gone ahead and put that on with the 10 mil bolt that it comes with, nut and bolt. I only have one. I have a primary positive cable, so I don't need to use a secondary one, but now we're going to run the heat shrink tubing on here, and we'll get my heat gun and cinch that down so that it's protected. And then they also have like a little sheath that goes over it so it protects it from any rubbing or anything. So we'll go ahead and heat shrink that down, and then that one will be completed. Okay guys, so a quick look here. You'll see I've got the heat shrink was put on underneath this, and now this is like a cloth heat shrink that's over the top. We've reattached it to our terminal end, and so that's all good to go. Now we're going to get started on the SMB cold air intake box. We got to do some putting parts on of that to start getting this built so that we can get it in the truck. First part of the construction for your SMB cold air intake box is this rubber ring here. We've got to put it on right here. Next up are these two parts. It's HP 1473-00. There's two of them. It's these little foam pieces, and they're going to go on right here. I love how everything comes bagged individually, so it's a step-by-step process. This foam piece just slides right on in there. This cap goes on, and then we have the hardware. Just like that, our two miniature speakers are on. Just kidding. They're just these little foam pads. But we got to go over here. We got to go to the mouth of the beast. This right here is where we're going to install this bad boy. Just slides on, and it looks like there's some hardware that goes to it. So this piece is actually two of these little black push pins. You hear them, they'll cinch together on there. And now that piece is on. We'll take these two grommets here, stick them in the base. Push those on. Easy enough. I almost ditched the stock intake too early. I forgot. We have our MAF sensor in here, so we've got to take this guy out. Right here, we need this. Alrighty guys, so you can see here there's a MAF pad, a MAF gasket, and then the MAF airflow sensor goes on with the two supplied hardware bolts. So that is all set. Holy cow. Let me see if I can show you guys this. It's getting dark. That storm is coming in. I've got to hurry this one up. After much frustration and maybe some new cuss words, we finally got this thing on. We were freaking out because of the storm. My wife helped me out, but everything's on. It's looking good. So now it's time to start the truck and see if we can hear any new noises. Other than that, I'm really pleased with the kit. Everything looks fine. Everything came in the kit and it went together perfect. So props to SMB for that. Now, I'm excited to hear it. Alrighty. Dang, you can definitely hear like some whistle coming through there now from the turbo. So that's pretty sick. Truck's running. It looks great. It's finally on. So thank you so much to my wife Courtney for her help. We were rushing to get it done because that storm was coming in. It was blowing everything like crazy. We had to pack the tents up really fast, and now it's raining on us, but it's perfectly sunny outside. Like, it's so sunny I have to wear sunglasses. I wish I could have shown you guys more, but due to weather, you know what? Sometimes we got to rush these things, but there are a lot of great installs. I'll link one down below. It'll help you guys out. But if you have any questions on installing this or my thoughts on it, I'm going to go out and drive it, and I'll report back in a couple of weeks once I get some miles under my belt with that on there and see if anything changes, you know, fuel mileage or whatever. Thank you so much for watching. There'll be a link in the description below to purchase this part off of Amazon. Like I said earlier, you clicking those Amazon links really does help me out, and I appreciate it when you guys purchase from those. Other than that, I want to say thank you for watching, and we'll catch you boys back here next time. Take it easy. Peace.